Okay, you win some, you lose some. Filmed the whole thing and it just best out. But I did this thing at the end of the last video, but it's gone. It's there, it's just there's no audio, so it's gonna be seeing a bearded man speak. Philosophical questions for curious minds. Questions. So I think I'll just randomly pick one, and we're gonna have a little chin wag, innit? We tend to imagine God looking like an old man with white hair and a beard, even though he isn't actually a person. Do you think God could be a woman or an animal or something we can't even picture? Well, this question's easy because I'm a Muslim. We don't draw God, we don't draw the Prophet, or we don't visualize them, or we don't. It's God. We use their word, we use their name. So the name Muhammad, the name Allah, that's what we use. I don't know what God looks like. I guess that's for us to find out when we die. You see God in everything that happens. Not to sound too like political, but like think about it. Like when you step out and it's raining, that's because of God. Even you stepping out, the ATP in your cells that made you move your leg to step out your house was God. That doesn't matter if you can't put a face to the name. Because if you believe in God, you believe that He did everything. That means everything's God. So I don't really care what God looks like. I just know that I believe God exists. Yeah, God's a way. I've had an interesting relationship with God. But the way that I've led my life and the way I've lived my life, because I'd go and come back, and for a time I went and I didn't come back for a while. And when I did come back, I felt happy. So I was like, do you know what? If this is where my heart wants to rest, then there's something in it. So I have to be here. Because if my soul's telling me that this is what's making me happy, I can't deny myself that my culture doesn't supersede religion. Religion is above my culture. So if there's anything in my culture that I just look at and doesn't fit within my view of my religion, I disregard it. It's not there. Tradition as well. There's so many things that my culture does, so many traditions that my culture has that just go against my religion, and we get told about it as if like it's gospel, as if like it's God's word. Let's do another one. You probably live in a democracy. Democracy means that big decisions are taken by asking everybody in society what they think and going with the majority. With the majority decide is right. This is meant to make things fair, but can you think why this might not be fair for everyone? It depends on what you define as a democracy. Because I don't define what I live in the UK as a democracy. It's a representative democracy, meaning that there are 650 people in a room and they all represent different parts of the UK. At the end of the day, a representative democracy can't be a true democracy because the power isn't vested with the people, the choices. And that's where the difference is. Democracy comes from the word demos kratos, which is the people power. I don't have power. I can put a tick on a box and say this is who I want to represent me, but that doesn't equate to power. That just equates to a choice. I also believe that democracy is a fantasy. Democracy is a fantasy. I don't think you can ever get true democracy. The best thing we can get is probably a direct democracy where communities manage themselves and then it just goes up like that, instead of it being this group of people is represented by one person in this big house, and then this big house votes for who they want to lead the country. Like, the scale that you're narrowing it down to is so harsh. Whereas if you've got a community that manages themselves and then it goes up from there, at least then it's a less harsh ascent to the top of power. Like one person represents 70,000 people, and then that one person is part of only 650 people out of nearly 17 million then make the decisions. And not even just 650 don't even make the decisions. You take half of that and then half of that, because the government is not the whole party, it's the people that get chosen within that party. So the government is like 50 people, 50, 60 people. Democracy is a fantasy. I don't believe that we live in a democracy. If you're talking about the word democracy's been The word democracy has now been shifted towards people can do what they want, but we've got a word for that, it's freedom. So everywhere you go, there's control, and the control isn't vested in us. So how can it be a democracy? That's where I stand with it. There's not a lot of countries that I can say are properly democratic. I guess you can say that people have freedom in this country, freedom of speech, freedom not to get violated, you know, freedom against hate speech. Like that's okay, but that's not democracy, because democracy doesn't mean freedom. Democracy means power. Who has the power? You don't have a democracy. I don't have power, therefore it can't be a democracy. But anyway, I've waffled on for too long for that. I got this camera that I've actually enjoyed. It's this camcorder. I've got a VHS camcorder, but I need to keep buying tapes for it, which I don't mind, but it just means that I've got to get them processed on the laptop. This is just really easy. Put the SD card in there, boom, done. Anyway, I'm done waffling. C'est fini. Goodbye.